Welcome, YouTube, to the Krakenation Draft Classic Juniors Division draft analysis of my team, the Cincinatti Splosions. So I'm first going to go over the actual structure and tier system of our draft. So it is a 100-point draft, 100 total points to spend on your Pokemon. And you need at least one from each tier, and the tiers are A, B, C, D, and E. And Megas are drafted as if they are normal mons. They are not free Pokemon. They are drafted as if they are normal mons. They are set within a tier at a certain price range. It's set as like A1, A2, A3, A1 being 15 points, whereas E3 being 1 point as the minimum, and you're still only allowed to have one Mega per team. So, with that, let's get on to the first Pokemon, which I drafted, which is, indeed, Round 1 Mega Venusaur. So, you might be wondering, Round 1 Mega Venusaur? That seems like a weird pick, and that's because it is a really weird pick. It was very key, and it was the main part of my core, and I don't know, I was very flustered. This is my first real draft, I don't know. It wasn't the best strategy, but I was flustered. I wasn't really quite sure how I wanted to do my first couple of picks. Yet I had a set list of Pokemon that I wanted, but not really which ones to pick first or whatnot. In any case, I had a hard time choosing, and because I didn't really want to pick a Pokemon that was just kind of generically a good Pokemon, I would like to pick a Pokemon that is actually important to my draft. So I decided to draft Mega Venusaur, which in the end was a bit of a mistake because round 2, Heatran got sniped, which pairs very well with Mega Venusaur. But it's okay, because when we get on to the second pick, you'll see why it wasn't actually that bad. So Mega Venusaur is an amazing mon. It's very bulky with 80 defense, I believe. 80 HP, I believe. It has about a little over 120 in its defenses. It can hit hard with its 120 special attack, and if it needs to, it could be a physical attacker with its 100 attack, or even a mixed attacker. It gets Sleep Powder, which is really amazing. It also gets Synthesis, which is great for recovery. It does also get Leech Seed. It's great for a Fire, Water, Grass core. It also, its ability is Thick Fat, which eliminate two of its weaknesses, being Ice and Fire. So that is really amazing. So, round 2, my pick was Cela Stila. So, Cela Stila is a pretty good replacement for Heatran. It fills basically the same role. It doesn't really get to set rocks, unfortunately, but it does provide a ground immunity, which is good, so that I don't have to try and get a flying type later on as well, because that could be a hassle. So I was actually pretty surprised that it wasn't picked all the way through round 2. It was like over halfway through it, but I was pretty happy that I was able to get it. So it's a flying type, which is ground immunity, but it's also not weak to rocks with its steel typing. It is very good for a Fairy, Dragon, Steel core. It gets Leech Seed. It can be physical or special with pretty good coverage, so it's pretty versatile. It resists. It works. It's very, very good with Mega Venusaur. It complements it very well. Not quite as well as Heatran, where the only bad spot or whatever you would call it, was ground, but every other thing was basically a resist, which is kind of insane. But in any case, it's still very good. It's an amazing Pokemon just altogether. So round 3. So round 3, I picked a Lola Mola, which you may think is very strange for a round 3 pick, but it's only 7 points, and it's really, really good value. It was also a key part of my plan, and I actually didn't get sniped past Heatran a single time throughout the entire draft, meaning I did indeed make the right decisions. And there were about like 4 people who I sniped with this pick. So it was very, very good for me to get a Lola Mola round 3 instead of round 4 because um, uh, I am I was farther. I was like more towards the top of the draft list for um, yeah. But so then round 4, it would have had to go through a lot of people twice. So a Lola Mola is a very good round 4 pick. Round 5, round 6 maybe. Generally around 4 and 5. So picking it early when it would still have to go through like a bunch of people, it's round 4, is a pretty good pick. So it provides amazing wish support with its 165 base HP. It really just spams toxic all day. It like gets knockoff. It gets some coverage moves. It's actually a physical attacker, which I did not know until recently. But basically, what it does is it clicks Wish, it clicks Protect, it clicks Toxic, it clicks Knockoff. It's just a good support mon. And it's also a stall mon. Unfortunately, I don't like playing stall. I'm not a fan of stall, but it's good to have some stall that's not like stall, but just kind of like helps with your core and can also be stall if you need it in that moment. So my 4th pick was Cinderace. So Cinderace, It's only 12 points? Wow, I would think that it'd be even more with Libero. Well, in this league, Libero is not allowed. You can't run Libero in Cinderace. So it's still really, really good. So it's actually pretty bulky for such an offensive mon. It has 80 base HP and 75 base defenses. And there's been so many times when I am matched up against a Cinderace and I am doing damage calcs and I'm wondering, like, how on earth does that not KO? And, like, some super effective move that just doesn't actually pick up the one-hit KO when you need it. So, yeah, it's pretty good. It completes my Fire, Water, Grass core, which is very important, and it provides some much-needed offense in my team. It also helps with speed tiers with its, I believe, either 119 or 116 speed. One of those is its attacking stat. I don't remember which is which. But in any case, it also has Court Change, which can help with as a hazard clear, and even though it's a fire type, because in this game, heavy-duty boots are a thing, and that is great. So it can also set up the hazards if my opponent isn't careful using Court Change. It also just gets decent recovery. Pyro Ball is an 120 stab physical fire move without any downside, really. It's just pretty amazing. Yeah, it gets U-turn, it gets this and that. It's great for just coming in, picking up a KO, or coming in, picking up, just doing some chip. It's just a great, very well balanced mon. So my 5th pick is Latios. So Latios completes my, well, it doesn't complete my Fairy Dragon Steel core, but it works. But it is part of the Fairy Dragon Steel core of my team. It is an offensive mon, which is also can be very bulky. It helps with speed tiers, which with its, I believe, 110 speed. It can also set up and sweep with like Calm Mind and whatnot. It's good to apply pressure and have something where if my opponent is disabled or stuck in Encore or something like that, I can actually set up on it. It also gets Defog, which is great for just removing hazards. So my 6th pick is Slurpuff. So Slurpuff, so it completes my Fairy Dragon Steel core, which is great. One of the main appeals to Slurpuff is it does indeed get sticky webs, which is really just amazing. So it also can provide wish support if I need it. It can be just a rounded off support mon. It gets aromatherapy. It might get leech seed. I'm not actually quite sure. Probably gets encore, knowing the Pokemon. It's just very well balanced all around. It can also, but it is also indeed the only Pokemon with Belly Drum that also has Unburden. So that's pretty great. It can actually sweep teams if they don't have enough fast Pokemon, or it can just come in late game, just Belly Drum, get the Citrus Berry, on Burden and just kind of sweep the team, which is amazing. So, my 7th Mon is Jolteon. So, Jolteon is incredibly fast. It is, with its 130 speed, which is really just amazing. So, it's very offensive. It's very offensive, so that gives me more offense, which my earlier picks were more defensive and a nice solid core. So it gets it in this league. Baton Pass is legal, but you're not allowed to use Baton Pass if it would pass any stats that aren't speed and speed. So like you can pass just speed, you can pass stats that aren't speed, but you can't pass both. You can't pass like attack and speed or something crazy like that. It's Jolteon gets agility and Baton Pass, which could be great, and a lot of the rest of my team is pretty threatening with +2 speed. Like, for example, Latias would be very prominent sweeper. It's also only 3 points, which is incredible value. So, unfortunately in this league, moves that were cut are banned. So, it doesn't get Hidden Power, and it doesn't get Signal Beam. So basically the only coverage that it has is Shadow Ball and Thunderbolt, or Thunder, or whatever you want to put it as. Volt Switch and Hyper Voice. I don't know if you would even really call Hyper Voice and Shadow Ball sufficient coverage. Generally, those moves are used as things that can basically hit neutral on everything. So that's not the best, but it still is pretty good. I am planning on using one of my free agencies to swap it out, but you know, it's a great mon for round 1. So my next pick is Conkeldurr. I'm pretty surprised that it is not picked this late, and it actually is very good on my team. It has an incredible, whopping 140 attack stat with, and both of its prominent abilities are amazing. It has Guts and Sheer Force, both of which are great. It also gets good priority in Mach Punch. It's really just an amazing wall breaker. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My 9th pick. 9 out of, I believe, 11 or 12, depending on if you pick higher costing mons or lower costing mons. So, my 11th pick is Dawnfan. So, Dawnfan is actually a really good and versatile Pokemon. It gets Stealth Rocks and Rapid Spin, which are both great. It has such amazing coverage, and this is what makes it very versatile. So it gets Earthquake, it gets Play Rough, it gets Seed Bomb, it gets Stone Edge, it gets Knockoff, it gets Fire Fang, it gets Gunk Shot, it gets Gyro Ball, it gets Ice Shard, it gets Super Power, and I'm probably still missing a couple, but basically it has access to like almost every single type of physical move that you could ever dream of. So it's really just so great. So my 10th Pokemon is Venomoth. Venomoth is basically just a support mon. It has the ability, I really don't remember what it's called, but it halves accuracy against it, which is pretty amazing. If you also give it like a bright powder, then it has less than 50% chance to hit. Basically, all Venomoth does is it's an annoying moth in your opponent's face, and basically it just makes them very, very annoyed when they miss their 10th Stone Edge in a row against it, which is indeed super effective. It also basically just puts everything to sleep. Basically, it dodges the Stone Edges, and then it puts it to sleep, and then maybe it sets up Tailwind or something. So it's fine. It's a fine mon. I actually am going to use a free agency very soon to swap it out for, I believe, Alolan Raichu, and you'll also see in the next pick why I'm going to do that. So the next pick is Exploud. Exploud is just another great mon. It basically just clicks buttons. It has a choice specs. It clicks Boom Burst. It basically hits everything for neutral, and it just does massive damage. It has no good switch-ins. It's Exploud. Everyone loves Exploud. It is also one of my team mascots, so I felt rather inclined to pick it. This is an amazing Pokemon, and it's very much so a sleeper Pokemon. But on my team, it doesn't really find a place. I already have Conkeldurr and other Pokemon that would fit its role, kind of. So I'm also planning on using a free agency on this swap it out for a pink urchin. So that's going to be interesting for my opponents. I can't wait to sweep some teams with that combination. Pink urchin, in fact, also gets spikes, which I did not learn, and toxic spikes. So that is pretty cool. So my last Pokemon, for only 1 point, is measly little cute little funny Ponyard. So Ponyard, basically, it's just a dark type that if I really, really, really need a dark type in my matchup, I can use Ponyard. And it can hit hard-ish for a Pokemon that only costs 1 point. It holds an Eviolite, all that jazz. I'm not sure what I'm going to swap Jolteon for. I might just leave it with 3 electric types, but probably not. I was thinking maybe another dark type could be useful on my team, but I'm not so sure. Anywho, that is all. This has been the draft analysis of the Cincinatti Splosions in the Krakenation Juniors Classic, Draft Classic, season, I believe, 4, maybe? I'm not quite sure. Anywho, thank you for watching, and bye. I'll be back with week 1.